Okay folks, gotta go pay the bill at the parts store. Hey folks, this is Mike from KEI Fabrication. This is my LS swapped Mazda B2200.
As long as it's tied down well enough, I guess it'll be alright.
Alright, now we got a design chair. I can do some highly classified scientific calculations. So today, folks, is paint day. I'm going to try to get a coat of just black fleet enamel on all of the new metal. And because the new metal transitions to some pre-existing metal, it had the decals all over it. Just using a heat gun and a paint scraper, as you saw, to get the vinyl lettering off. And then I'll wipe it with a solvent to clean this side, all the adhesive. Repeat this process on the other side. Hopefully we're going to get this in color today, and I need to ship this truck in the next day or two. So all the fabrication and welding and correcting and rebuilding and re-engineering is complete. Once I get the color on this truck and get the brackets that are going to hold the new toolboxes, I can prep those and paint them and get them ready to install. This is the last step in terms of completing the project, and I've just been waiting till the very end, till everything is done, before I take these brand new boxes and put them on the truck to make sure that they're not going to get spoiled either in overspray or welding debris and grinding dust and everything like that. So the goal is to try and finish this thing today. In here sometimes. This is my 4-post lift, and there's about a 1/2 inch clearance between the body and the lift, and there's about about 2 feet back here and down to less than a foot up front. So it gets a little cramped in here. This job was probably way more than I'm normally used to taking on, but I felt like a challenge, and this guy's a friend of mine, and I thought I could do a nice job for him, so that's why I'm where I am. so what I'm doing here, folks, the customer asked me to cut this platform off that was for a small gantry crane. And the gantry crane broke, and he actually got another piece of equipment to help him load this truck, so it just didn't become necessary, and this became a hindrance. However, throughout the whole fabrication of this project, it's been a fantastic step to get up into the truck. Now that that's all done, and I'm down to the final aspect of this job, which is painting the new metal, I'm just dressing up where the thing was welded on, so you don't see a raw torch cut. And I'll take this down to the parent material. I'm getting down there with this big 7-inch grinder, and once I get down to the nitty-gritty, I'll switch over to the 4.5-inch grinder and get it down to make it look like it was never on there. So I mean, it's kind of a lot of work for really no particular reason other than to show attention to detail, which, I don't know, it's just kind of the way I've been taught. If you go the extra mile, even if this particular customer doesn't recognize it or appreciate it, somebody that walks by and sees the job you did, they'll say, wow, whoever did that paid attention to detail or did a nice job. That to me would be extremely rewarding if it took place, even if I wasn't around to hear it with my own ears. So if somebody compliments the customer, then that makes the customer feel good, and that's just further indication that I did my job well. So this part of the job I really dislike. I injured my arm, and wheeling this big grinder around is taking its toll on me. I have almost no strength in my elbow, so I'm using my knee as a rest to help guide it and keep control of the grinder. Fortunately, this is near the end of all of that strength that's required with my arm, and once it's painted, this thing goes down the road. Hopefully this will have an opportunity to heal up a little bit. So, all right, get back at it. As I'm using this grinder, I'm not sure if this will come out before or after Father's Day, but this was my dad's. God rest his soul. He passed away unexpectedly about 10 years ago. And I'm just sitting here thinking about, I'm using my dad's grinder and hoping he's watching over me. Actually, I don't hope that he's watching over me. I know that he's watching over me, and the reason I know that is I know that he's in heaven because he loved Jesus, and that was one of the last conversations I had with my dad before he died, was about Jesus. And so I'm very comfortable knowing that he's in heaven and he's watching over me. And just like when my dad passed away, Jesus said, "Welcome home." I'm hoping that my dad is watching over me and saying, "Nice job. You're making me proud, son." And anyway, that just thought crossed my mind. I figured I'd share it with you folks. Okay, so I got that all cut off and cleaned up, and right now I am going to grab some solvent and take the adhesive off from where I removed all the letters, the vinyl decals. I removed the decals from the opposite side already. So a good wipe down, getting rid of the solvent over here, and wiping down the new steel, and we should be ready to blow some paint on this thing. Alright, so I'm under the bed prepping it for a quick coat of paint, and I found some rotted out cross members. There's one on this side, two on the other side in the same condition. So I cut out all the bad, got some angle iron, cleaned it up so I can stitch it in from both sides and then reattach it to the vertical bed rail over here, and kind of put back the integrity and prevent it from just eating away and accelerating rust later on. So this is probably the least favorite job that I have. I got to go through this whole thing with a wire brush. I tried to farm it out and get it sandblasted, but the equipment was down at the vendor and time was going on. I just need to get this thing out of here. So I'm gonna wire brush this whole thing and then pressure wash it and then throw a good coat of paint on it. And it's the customer knows that it's just to prevent it from deteriorating any quicker than it already is. So we're just kind of sealing it up for the next couple of years, and then we'll probably have it sandblasted when that gives up. This is just to get it back on the road and get it back in service. So we did a quick paint job on it. I painted all the new steel, and we are just trying to, so it can be outside and not rust while I'm working on it. And then I'm going to go back and probably just scuff that and throw a finish coat on it just to seal it up the best I can. Alright folks, that was probably one of the worst jobs I've ever had to do. You can see this loads of shrapnel on the ground here. I just spent 8 solid hours wire brushing and getting rid of all of the powder coat that was on this chassis that separated and then trapped rust in there. And then when I was done wire brushing, I went and power washed the entire thing. We got a nice warm sunny day today. I'm going to let it cook in the sun and get rid of all the moisture. While I was wire wheeling, I found some other areas of the cross members that have been compromised. You saw yesterday that I put some new pieces in. I got some thin material here, so I'll put some reinforcement in there, cut out the old. That's going to happen this morning. And then as soon as this thing is ready, I'm going to blow some black fleet enamel underneath this thing. I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to shoot the paint inside these C channels, or actually upside down J channels, because it's just a sediment trap for all that stuff to get in there. I've got to blow some paint on these brackets here. That's where the toolboxes go. Looking forward to getting that part of the project crossed off the list, but right now the last thing that I'm dreading is just spraying paint underneath this thing. I'm exhausted. This was all overhead work, hours and hours and hours just slinging that angle grinder around. So I'm beat up. So I'm looking forward to just shipping this job. So anyway, today's mission: get this painted, and I'll let the paint dry for one more day. Tomorrow morning I'll put the toolboxes on after the paint's flashed, and the tail lights have got to go back in. So alright, here we go again. so we got the underbody done. I just put all the tail lights in, the marker lights, and now we're going to go for the toolboxes. Alright folks, there it is, it's done. The customer's been inspected it and really likes the work. He's very pleased. The last little detail that I did was when the doors are open, they needed a place to attach to, so there's pins. There's a tab that goes in the door, and you just undo the pin and then open the door, and the door closes. Put the pin back in and you're done. So it's in double shear, so this little 3/8 hardened pin will do the job, and they engage with these pins right here, or not pins, tabs. So alright, it's all done, it's ready to ship. Send it down the road. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we're going to take a little break in the action before we tackle anything this big again. Thanks for watching.